Hello friends, welcome back to Neo IAS Mastering Science and Technology. This is Let's Learn initiative. We will be seeing something about Mission Shakti. PM Modi, Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi had done a big declaration on 27th March about Mission Shakti, that is ASAT or anti-satellite missile. So what is anti-satellite missile? Before learning that, we will have a quick revision on India has become the fourth country to acquire such a specialized and modern capability. It is 100% indigenous. 100% indigenous means no technology, nothing have been procured from outer any other countries. We have done the design and development here, and it destroyed a low Earth orbit satellite 300 km away, 300 km above the Earth's surface. So this is, we are talking about Mission Shakti or ASAT missile, anti-satellite missile. So what is it actually? Why is it in use? Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi in his address to nation says India's Mission Shakti has shot down a low Earth orbit satellite using ASAT missile. He was quick to point out that the intent of the mission is to defend India's space assets and not to start any arms race. So this is for peace. So we have acquired, see, if you see the speech, you can see that we have acquired all the powers like land, air and navy and water, underwater, everywhere. We have successfully deterrent, we have done the deterrent patrol and etc. We have all superpowers as far as the military is concerned. The one thing was left, that was space. So we have a lot of, a big set of space assets. We have many satellites, observatories, space observatories. We have geosynchronous satellites. We have low Earth orbit satellites. We have remote sensing, reconnaissance, surveillance satellites, GPS satellites, etc. So these are the space assets, and these assets, the outer space is not regarding any country or anything like that. No one has any a property that is being owned in the space. Everyone can do whatever research and activities and study and experiments in a peaceful manner, only for the good for the mankind in the outer space. So that is the outer space treaty that is being internationally acclaimed, internationally signed, and many countries are party to that. India is also party to that. Almost all the countries are party to that. So we have space assets, and no one should use this. Any country or any government or non-governmental organization cannot use or should not use space for any attack, war, or any country, any adverse situations cannot be done in space. So what we need is a peaceful study, the welfare, good for the humankind, search and rescue, climate, weather forecasting, communication, internet, broadband, this GPS connections, etc. So we have tested this ASAT anti-satellite missile. So what is the threat? Why should we shoot down a satellite in the orbit? The significance is that any enemy satellite, so I have told that there is no property in the space. No country has certain property where only their satellites can be done out. See, USA have been sending a lot of satellites. India is also sending many satellites to low Earth orbits or geosynchronous or geostationary orbits. So we cannot say that this much area of the space is for India, allocated to India, or this much of area is allocated to USA. We cannot say that. Space is open to all to do good works, to do welfare works. So if even during any adverse situation like a war or any cold war or a civil war or whatever it is, like rivalries are there, we are also having enemies, China and Pakistan, we are also having enemies. So in any sense, the enemy country send a satellite near to the pointing towards India or pointing towards our entire mainland as well as islands or the maritime area, where they are sending secretly, they are taking pictures or they are taking videos or they are taking any data is being sent to the enemy country, for example, our strategic positions of our ships, strategic positions of our nuclear installations, etc. These kind of things can be done by enemy country. No one is doing that, but in the next level of war, so we have all the land, air and sea war right now. So we have army, air force and navy for that. We also have cyber war, cyber terrorism, cyber terror funding, etc. are also the growing, highly threatening conditions that we have, anti-national conditions we have, and we are also dealing with that. We have many institutions and organizations and international laws and authorities to tackle this, to prevent this, to mitigate these things. But what about space? What if some enemy is sending any satellite near to the Earth or near to the Indian area, and they are sending critical data to the enemy countries, or sending like the number of troops being deployed in Jammu Kashmir, or the number of tanks being deployed in the Rajasthan border, etc., etc. So this is to shoot down, this is to target that particular kind of a satellite. If you are getting any information that some satellite of an enemy country is remaining, or it is hovering around the Indian area, that space, then we have the ability right now. Before 2 days we have tested it, and right now we have this ability to shoot down such kind of a satellite. So this is an anti-satellite mission which is targeted on any enemy satellite that is coming to reconnaissance or surveil our country in a war situation. So that was the declaration done by Pradhan Mantri. Moving forward, what was the test? On 27th March 2019, India conducted mission Shakti, an anti-satellite missile test from APJ Abdul Kalam Island, that is in Odisha, and earlier it was known as Wheeler Island, we know that. And this was a technological mission carried out by DRDO. So DRDO, along with they are the one who develops, designs and develops all the missiles, and DRDO along with ISRO, because ISRO is the one who gives the data about the satellites, what is the orbital speed, what is the velocity, etc. So this was mainly a technological mission carried out by DRDO, and the satellite used. So I will show the schematic of all this. Okay. So the satellite used in the mission was one of the India's existing satellites operating in lower Earth orbit. So the orbit, that the height or the altitude that we talk about is 300 kilometers. A satellite was shot down using our missile, Indian made, 100% indigenously made, designed and developed by DRDO. A missile was used to target a satellite in the low Earth orbit of an altitude of 300 km. It is like 295 point something kilometer. So round off 300 km. And that was the test. It was successfully conducted and achieved all the parameters as per the plan. The test required an extremely high degree of precision and technical capability. Now, why this is required, I will just discuss again. So, what is the significance of this test? Why is this significant? Just like the surgical strike 1, the surgical strike 2.0 we had in the just after few days after the Pulwama attack, we had that. So these were the bigger declarations made by the government. So how significant is that compared to that? So India has tested and successfully demonstrated its capability. So the primary point is to we have right now the technology to interdict and intercept a satellite in the outer space. So till now we had only the the endo-atmospheric. So we have two types of missile systems we are developing. We are having the ballistic missile defense system that we have endo-atmospheric as well as exo-atmospheric. Exo-atmospheric means outside the atmosphere. So this comes in that kind of a sector where we are targeting something which is out of the atmosphere. So exo-atmospheric. So we have that technology right now to target and destroy an enemy satellite, enemy surveillance satellite using the indigenous technology. With this test, India joins an exclusive group of spacefaring nations, that is USA, Russia and China. So the USA had conducted this way behind just after independence in 1954. They had conducted the first test to target one of their satellites, and again after 10 to 12 years after that, Russia also started, because that was at that time it was USSR. They also tested this and successfully they had destroyed one of their satellites. And then recently in 2007, it was in 2007 that China also conducted a test to their own satellite, which was at an altitude of 835 kilometers or something, means nearly 800 kilometers, was struck down by China using their one of the ballistic missiles. So this would be to secure the outer space from enemy reconnaissance or surveillance satellites. The satellites in the LEO travel with the speed of. Now, why this is significant? The third point is the satellite is not like a immobile or constant target. The satellite, any satellite which is having an orbit in the low Earth orbit or at an altitude of 400 to 600 kilometers, it will be having a speed of around 7 to 8 kilometers per second, not kilometer per hour. So this would be around like 28,000 kilometers per hour. If you calculate it, 28,000 kilometers per hour, that is the velocity of that. It is not easy to target something which is traveling at a very high speed. Even the normal aircrafts or jet planes and etc. won't travel at this speed. Only missiles will travel at this speed. So this is 7 to 8 kilometers per second, and this is difficult to target a moving satellite with such a high precision. So you have to understand the importance of such kind of a missile, where many satellites will be orbiting around the earth in this altitude. Many satellites, many countries are sending their satellites. ISRO is also sending a lot of satellites to this kind of orbits. And even if there is a small deviation in this in the trajectory of the missile, then it would hit a wrong target or a wrong satellite. That would lead to many other consequences. So that is why this test is very significant. With a very high precision, very high precision, that we have conducted this test and successfully destroyed the target or the intended target. So we will talk about what satellite, probably because DRDO or the Indian government did not tell what satellite they have destroyed, but based on the the talks that we have in different media, we'll see which satellite was destroyed. Okay, so ASAT or anti-satellite missile uses, what are the technology using to intercept, jam. So what are the uses of ASAT? That is what we are talking about. To intercept and jam the communication or military satellites of enemy countries in the time of war, stop them from communicating with the soldiers, to access critical information about troop movements or incoming missiles. So all anything. So whatever is the purpose of the enemy satellite, because they will be having many purposes like surveilling India or creating a map of India, or to give the real time information to the enemy country, etc. So everything can be stopped using such kind of anti-satellite technology. One among that is anti-satellite missile. So we have a comprehensive thing called anti-satellite technology or anti-satellite deterrence technology. One among the prime important one is among that anti-satellite technology is the anti-satellite missile that we have tested. So many to intercept it means to intercept, the satellite is moving, to intercept that is called interception, to destroy that. So intercept or jam the communication means you are sending some device which will jam the communication relay, so that the satellite won't be able to contact with the enemy country or the ground station inside the enemy country. So that is jam the communication on military users. To stop them from communicating with their soldiers, to access critical information about troop movements or incoming missiles. So we can also access their satellite data to us. So that can also be done. It can undertake pellet cloud attacks, means clouds can be attacked, like pellet missiles or pellet bombs can be released, which will destroy a set of missiles, set of satellites. Electromagnetic pulse explosion devices, using electromagnetic waves you can destroy. No need any bomb or explosive, you can use electromagnetic pulses as instead of explosive devices. And using laser beams also you can create weapons. You are sending anything can be carried by a missile, not just a bomb or an explosive. Anything can be done. It can be a device, it can be a laser a weapon, or it can be an electromagnetic pulse weapon. Anything can be carried. And targeted missiles for destruction of satellites to sabotage the enemy's military operations. So whatever technique enemy country is using to to surveil or to reconnaissance our area, our mainland as well as the island or the maritime area, we can block it in many different ways. So that is what the totality of ASAT means. One among that is ASAT missiles. So what was China's ASAT that was recently conducted? It was conducted in 2007, and a multi-stage missile was used, means our Agni 5, Prithvi, etc. are also multi-stage missiles. So similar to that, a multi-stage missile was used to successfully intercept and destroy a Chinese weather satellite, again a satellite released by China in a polar orbit. The altitude was 865 kilometers, so nearly 3 times that of India's altitude that we have achieved last day. So China had done that in 2007 using a missile which targeted a satellite in 800 or 900 kilometer altitude. So that is where we fall behind. That is one of the controversies that we have right now. Nearly 3 times the altitude that India tested on March 27. Other than China and India, we have US and Russia had tested successfully ASAT missile in the recent past. Not actually recent past, they were tested in 1954 or 64, but in totality we call it recent past anyways. So which satellite was used? So we don't know we don't have an authentic information on what kind of satellite have been used, but based on the data that we have, like the altitude, or they told that it was an operational satellite. So based on that altitude, based on the remote sensing technology, etc., we have many medias have told that it was an Indian satellite, obviously, as declared by the government, and the satellite that used believed to have destroyed either the microsat R or the microsat TD satellite. So both this microsat R as well as microsat TD were the satellites made by DRDO. Obviously, it was sent using an ISRO PSLV vehicle or a rocket, but it was made by and for DRDO, for military purposes only. So DRDO made some satellite, they launched it. So that is why this is just a kind of a speculation. We don't have any authentic data on this, government approved data on this, but still we just keep in your mind it can either be microsat R or microsat TD. So microsat R was released in January 2019, and microsat TD was launched in 2018 January or February. So this both were developed by DRDO. More likely the former one, means the microsat R has the more possibility. They were both built by the Defense Research and Development Organization, and ISRO launched the microsat R on January 24th and microsat TD in 2018, and the satellite was said to be in the LEO, that is low Earth orbit, at an altitude of 300 kilometers. So that is the possibility that we have. It can be microsat R or microsat TD, which are operational right now. India's ASAT program was publicly acknowledged in 2011. It had an evolution in 2012 actually, and during that time, what was the peculiarity was that Agni 5 missile, where many successful tests were done, and one of the best tests was done in 2012. At that time, V.K. Saraswat was the DRDO chief, and he had done the testing. And during the test, what was the peculiarity was that this missile, which has a parabolic path, we have discussed that all the ballistic missiles are having this parabolic path, and this missile had a parabolic path and it attained a height of 600 km. Just imagine 600 km altitude, means it reached the space. So we knew that we had a technology, we had a missile that can reach such an altitude and then fall back, means at that time we had this technology, we had the capability to target a satellite, but we did not do the testing because government approval was not there. Government did not approve that. So it's subsumed, then it came the ballistic missile defense program, where ballistic missiles will be used to target any other enemy ballistic missile. So we have Prithvi defense vehicle, PDV, where Prithvi will act as a, Prithvi being a ballistic missile, it can be used to intercept and hit another ballistic missile or an ICBM coming from an enemy country. So based on that, we have many missiles under this ballistic missile defense, and the possibility of Prithvi being used for this or possibility of Agni being used for this, we don't know. So we don't know two things actually, the satellite used or the satellite used, obviously we don't know, government did not declare it. We have, based on the news channels and newspapers, we can say that microsat R or microsat TD was a satellite used, and what missile they used. Even though they gave the name anti-satellite missile, but what missile or what category of missile were used? We know that BrahMos cannot be used because it is having a range of only 300 km. It is range means that is a horizontal distance. It cannot go at that height. So only missiles that we have is Prithvi or Agni. So any one among this Prithvi or Agni was used for this. We haven't got any confirmation on that or authentic data on that. Anyway, we will see in the coming days. So the BMD, if I am talking about ballistic missile defense, it has two type of missile defense, that is endo-atmospheric. I have told it, endo-atmospheric as well as exo-atmospheric. So mission Shakti falls in exo-atmospheric category, where it passes the atmosphere, it reaches the space and then goes to the 300 km altitude and targets a missile. Now 300 km is not that much a distance because it took only 3 minutes to reach there. So anyway, and China being done, have done this in 2007 using almost 900 km, 3 times that of India. Anyways, the missile used, more details are awaited from the DRDO. Possibly a modified version of Agni 5 missile was used for the task in 2012. Why Agni 5 possibility came? Because in 2012, shortly after the testing of Agni 5, where it reached 600 km altitude, DRDO's then chief V.K. Saraswat had said that the missile could be modified. Which missile? The Agni 5 missile could be modified for using as an ASAT weapon, means an anti-satellite weapon. But the testing was not done during that time. Some other reliable magazine reported that the vehicle was an extended range derivative of the Prithvi defense vehicle. So we have two possibilities anyway, just like the satellite used. What kind of missile used? We don't have any authentication anyway. You keep on updating what name that is coming from the government side. Okay. So what kind of a missile it was? I mean, we know that we don't know the name of the missile anyway, but what kind of a method or technique was used for targeting this? It was called a kinetic kill vehicle. Kinetic kill vehicle means you are throwing a stone at a glass window and then that glass window breaks due to the impact of the stone. So is the stone carrying any explosive device or gunpowder or a bomb or anything like that, or any warhead? No. It is because of the kinetic energy of the stone that is impacting on the glass and the glass breaks. So similar technology was used here also. The missile did not carry any explosive, the missile did not carry any bomb or any conventional warhead or anything like that. It was just a missile, and due to the kinetic energy of that missile, the satellite, which is very soft and delicate and sensitive, even if you hit it with a small rock piece, it will damage. So it will get damaged. So this is a kind of thing, kinetic which kill vehicle means it does not carry any explosive or any other devices. The kill capability arises simply from the fact that it smashes into the large satellite. So something which is staying there, you are throwing something at a very high speed, then obviously that will break down and shatters it using its kinetic energy. So kinetic energy of that particular missile is being utilized. There are other techniques called flyby test and jamming the satellite also. Flyby test means using some missile or something, you just fly by through near to, flyby means just fly by, just pass it. So means any satellite or any device can be incorporated in a missile or a rocket which can fly by and just target the satellite to dysfunction it or something like that. Or jamming means blocking the communication. But this was just a kinetic kill vehicle. So three types of anti-satellite technologies that we have: kinetic vehicle, flyby test, as well as jamming the satellite. The kinetic kill method at such an altitude has ensured that there won't be any debris in the orbit. Why? Because the 300-kilometer orbit, even if the satellite shatters into pieces, these won't revolve around the orbit. That is what the DRDO has told, or the government had told, that this won't orbit around. It will just fall into the earth, and they are such a small pieces that while falling itself, due to friction, it will burn away and decay away. So the debris after the hit will gradually decay, that is fall back to the earth, and before touching the ground, it will burn away. So within 45 minutes to 1 hour, the debris won't be there in the orbit. So because during the China testing, China did in 2007, they had targeted a satellite which was at almost 900-kilometer altitude, and the debris after the explosion or after the hitting had caused a lot of consequences. So because many debates and controversies were also there. So we don't have anything like that, and it is not a violation of outer space treaty that we have, the international treaty we have. It is not a violation. That is what the government is telling. Why? Because we did not do anything for war purpose. We did not test any missile, bomb, or a nuclear warhead or a conventional warhead. We did not do. We did not target any other country's satellite. We did our own thing. It was purely an experimentation. It was just to show our power, that for maintaining peace we need some kind of a power. So that is what the government motto was. So how is ICBM, that is Intercontinental Ballistic Missile, ICBM, different from this anti-satellite missile? So both, see, if Agni was used or Prithvi was used, both are in the range of intercontinental ballistic missile. They are having a very high range, like more than 1000 kilometer. Agni 5 is having 5000 and more kilometer range. Range means the horizontal distance. Both vehicles showcase extreme abilities to cause damage, but intercontinental ballistic missile or ICBMs and ASAT missiles don't work the same way. Why? Because see, just imagine if you are using an ICBM or a ballistic missile to intercept any other ballistic missile of an enemy country. So the ballistic missile of an enemy country is coming like this, and we are launching a satellite. We are launching a missile that should intercept it, hit it in the midair itself. It should be destroyed so that it won't hit the country. So if you are using an ICBM, then that requires three kinds of radar. This missile that we are launching for our defense, it should need three kinds of radar. One each to detect it, intercept it, and fire the rebooting button. Means it should be of some kind of a precision as well as accuracy. So an incoming ICBM also falls as an inherently unpredictable trajectory. Also, see, this in the enemy ICBM or enemy ballistic missile is coming, and this we have told that any ICBM has fire and forget system, where the missile itself, inside inbuilt navigation systems will be there inside it. So it can change its trajectory. That is why unpredictable trajectory. So an ICBM of an enemy country can have an unpredictable trajectory, but a satellite which is revolving or which is orbiting around in a particular orbit won't have any unpredictable nature. Only thing that has is velocity. Velocity will be very high. There won't be any unpredictable, because the satellite won't move, laterally. It will be always moving in the orbit, and that orbit, if once calculated or predetermined, then that would change its path. But the missile or enemy missile can change its path. So this one should need a very high precision, and the means the ICBM should need a very high precision and more number of radars. But a satellite in a LEO, that is low Earth orbit, follows a predictable trajectory, and but that altitude move about at 8 times the speed of the light. So the speed is very high. The velocity is the only thing that we should keep in mind, that this velocity satellite should be intercepted and targeted. So if it fails, then that missile can go anywhere. It can go and hit any other country's satellite or any other important satellite of our country. So that thing should be there. So both the missile used may be the same, but the working that we are taking, means the ballistic ICBM has a trajectory of a parabola, but this one won't have a parabolic thing. In the mid-air itself, in the mid-space itself, it should hit the target. So that is how it differs. But an ICBM can be used as a ASAT missile. Thus, the object being sent to strike them needs to be very precisely guided. Even an error could throw an ASAT missile off the course, potentially towards a different satellite. That is not what is intended. So accuracy should be maintained. So this is what happened in this. This is a schematic of this. See, we can see many ground-based control stations. This is the launcher actually, where the missile Agni 5 or Prithvi, we don't know, whatever, let's call it ASAT missile, was launched. And that was the radar systems. 2 radar systems were there in the left side, which targeted the trajectory, the velocity, the altitude of the satellite. They had set the target, and the details were given to, through the ground stations and etc. It was given to the launchers, and after all the coordination works and etc., the missile was given the data where to go, at what velocity it should go, where to hit the target, at what height it should hit the target, etc. And the missile went on. So the ballistic missile did not complete its path, what is intended. In the mid space itself, it targeted. See the stage 1, stage 2 and stage 3 separation, that so it was used at 3 stage. We have only 3 stage ballistic missiles. So all the 3 stages were met, and the final one went and hit the satellite. No explosives were used, only that kinetic energy was transferred to the satellite and it broke into the pieces. So this was the test being done. So based on that, we will just discuss a model question which can appear in the prelims question. Consider the following statements about the recently tested ASAT missile or mission Shakti. It was targeted at an Indian satellite in the polar orbit of an altitude of 795 km. Now this 795 km, that let's see the second statement also. The missile is based on kinetic kill technique, which doesn't carry any kind of explosive. This makes India the 4th country to test and demonstrate an anti-satellite missile. So this is what we have seen. We are the 4th country. USA, USSR, now Russia and China had done this, and we are the 4th country, obviously, right? And the second one, we have seen that yes, it is based on the kinetic kill technique, which doesn't carry any explosive. So it didn't carry any explosive. It can carry, or it may carry, but this one, the mission Shakti, did not carry any explosive. Just use the kinetic energy of the missile to target this particular satellite, and it was targeted at an Indian satellite in the polar orbit. No, it was in the low Earth orbit of altitude of 300 km, not 795 km. I had done this to confuse with the China's testing. So we can see that C, 2 and 3 is the correct answer here. So see you next time. Thank you. And I would take this opportunity to tell you that we are, I hope that we know that many people are finding difficulty in tackling the science and technology, because we don't have any particular source to read or particular textbook to read the science and technology. And we Neo IAS have done a lot of effort. We have put a lot of effort to make a comprehensive module for this science and technology, and we have done the classes and etc. Almost all the areas were covered, from space to biotechnology and etc. All the areas are covered in a very timely manner, and we have covered the basic concepts, the theories, concepts, etc., plus the current affairs, plus the recent initiatives, etc. We have discussed lots of questions. So we had that kind of a course. Now we are bringing you a capsule course for science and technology, exclusively for science and technology. Means you can subscribe to any particular area. Like if you want a capsule course of space, then you can take that, or if you want biotechnology entirely, then you can buy it, subscribe to that. So that is science and technology capsule course in 25 hours. So total in totality in 25 hours you can complete the entire science and technology. So we will be providing the ad for that, and to subscribe it, please go down the link below and subscribe it. I hope you have good preparation days right now. So thank you.